Coming up, the state budget has been handed down, so what does it mean for Ipswich? Local MP Jennifer Howard joins the show for a closer look at the numbers and the old Ipswich Transit Centre consigned to history. It's Wednesday, June 16, 2021, and I'm Alan Roebuck. Welcome to Ipswich Today, which acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which it is produced and pays respects to elders past, present and emerging. This podcast is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. The Queensland state budget was handed down on Tuesday, June 15, and there were some big numbers bandied about. What does it mean for Ipswich? The local member for Ipswich joins me now. Thanks for talking with Ipswich Today, Jennifer Howard.
Thanks for having me, Alan.
The consensus by commentators is that this is very much a Labor budget with its focus on jobs, health, education and housing. We've heard what the Treasurer had to say this week. What does it mean for Ipswich and the region more broadly?
Thanks, Alan. It is a not just a traditional Labor budget. It's really a COVID recovery budget, and it's seeing us really in a pretty good position going forward. Our economy is going to grow by 3.25%, which is double the national growth rate and 13 times faster than we predicted. So, that's a win for everyone across Queensland, including people in Ipswich. But in our area, what we are going to see is a continuation of our Murray Court. We're seeing an investment in the Ipswich Magistrates Court, which will expand and upgrade the existing audiovisual system in there. We're seeing $5 million being laid out over the next financial year towards the Ripley ambulance station. That's happening very quickly. We're seeing a big investment in our local schools here, which is always, an important thing, and as you say, a hallmark of Labor budgets. And we're seeing, a continuation of the COVID Works for Queensland program rolling out here across the city, and our community stimulus package as well.
If we can look at a couple of specifics, Ipswich has been announced as one of the sites for a new satellite hospital. It's a relatively new term. Firstly, how would you describe a satellite hospital and why do we need one?
Well, we've been identified. The government committed to establishing a few of these satellite hospitals across Queensland, and with the growth that we're seeing, particularly in Ripley around here, it's become more and more important that we have that support. And it's not, the Westmoreton Health and Hospital Service will determine exactly what will happen at our particular satellite hospital. But overall, and I think that, each kind of health and hospital district area will kind of recognise the demand that's needed in that area. For example, some areas will be using them for dialysis treatment, for oncology, but it just depends on what what the needs are of that area. So they're a $40 million investment each satellite hospital, and we're getting closer to making an announcement. Actually, I think it'll be tomorrow or Friday on exactly where it's going in Ipswich.
How does a satellite hospital fit in then with the recently announced 174 new public beds at the Mater at Springfield Central?
Well, that was a wonderful announcement. We do need more beds. There is a high demand, as everyone who lives in Ipswich knows. We've got rapid growth occurring in this area, and what it will mean is that this will be an opportunity for those residents living in in the high growth areas to access more health services.
Emergency departments are always under pressure. I've been there myself, I've seen it. But the elephant in the room seems to be why people present to emergency when a bulk billing GP could provide the same service. Do you have any views on that?
Yeah, look, I do think people sort of do automatically think if there is something that is an emergency for them, that they would go up to the Ipswich Hospital, and depending on what it is. But unfortunately, we do see people presenting there with things that could very easily be dealt with, by, as you say, a bulk billing GP. We we do encourage people to seek that out. Sometimes circumstances, it's very nuanced when we're looking at people's emergency health needs and what constitutes an emergency. But, I would encourage people to, first of all, look towards getting a GP that bulk bills and that you can build a relationship with, so that if there is something that occurs, you can get in quickly. I think that's pivotal, and it's something that we are moving away from as a society. Having a GP in your life is a very important thing.
Skills and training are always a feature of a Labor budget, and I'm hearing that Skilling Queenslanders for Work is now a permanent feature.
It is, and we could not be happier about it. We've just seen it. It's one of the most successful programs I think that, I've ever seen any government introduce for many, many years. And it's, so what we're going to see is $7.32 million allocated across the entire Ipswich local government area through the Skilling Queenslanders for Work program alone. And that's estimated to assist up to almost 1,500 people get job-ready skills. And then there's the Back to Work program, which is a part of the Skilling Queenslanders for Work. It's $8.7 million allocated right across the Ipswich local government area, which will assist 406 employers to employ 717 previously unemployed job seekers.
Domestic violence features every week in the news, which is sad to see, but it is also a feature in the budget. What is the money going towards?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk, as a lot of people are aware of the task force that we established as a government, the Women's Safety and Justice Task Force. So in the next financial year, we'll see $1.6 million rolled out to continue the wide-ranging review of women's experiences in the criminal justice system. This is incredibly important. What I hear far too often is women, making a decision to not go through the legal system just because it's so fraught and so difficult and often not a great outcome for women. So we really need to be collating that data so we can make it a much better experience, so that women will use the legal system to help, to help protect themselves. So, and also what we see is $2.7 million in the next financial year to just continue the important initiatives that we have already been rolling out to provide specialist support to women that are already in contact with the criminal justice and custodial systems. $7.5 million out of a total $30 million to provide a continuation of funding to enable domestic, family and sexual violence services to respond to demands associated with the impacts of COVID-19. There were some very alarming statistics came out of last year during the lockdown. There was a doubling of women reporting domestic violence, some for the first time.
COVID has had a massive impact on our lives and the state budget, and the numbers say that we've turned a corner. Are you confident it can stay that way?
Look, I am confident. I want to commend the Treasurer for this budget. I believe that, creating a budget like this that's getting us back on track faster than we envisaged is a really important step for us. It's good for morale. It gives small businesses confidence. It gives people confidence in the future of our state.
And finally, one item that's not concerned with the budget, but it's one that's been hanging around a long time in Ipswich CBD, and that's the old Transit Centre. It's finally being demolished. So what's the timeline going to be with the Transit Centre?
Well, it's going to be demolished by the end of the month, and I drove past there just the other day, and it's pretty close. What we're doing with it is we first of all listed it as surplus to requirements, putting it out to other state government bodies to see if they were interested in it, and we didn't get any interest. So it's now going on the open market, but to prepare it to go on the opening market, the building itself, which was really very dilapidated and an absolute eyesore, is being demolished.
It is an awkward piece of land in a flood-prone site.
Absolutely.
I think the community will be interested to see what it looks like when it's totally demolished. What could be done with it? Has there been any suggestions come to your office?
Over the years, there have been many suggestions of what could be done with it. I think I'm probably on record as saying that I'd like to see, council take it on and create some green space. We're seeing a lot of workers now inhabiting the CBD. I think council's moving into their building as we speak.
At the end of the month, yes.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to have a bit of green space down there. As you say, it's a flood area and it's a complex piece of land. There's a road going through it. There's a Mansfield Place bridge sort of walkway over the top. It is a complex piece of land. So lots of ideas are bandied about. People are investing in Ipswich. So I think we will be watching this space with interest.
We certainly will. Jennifer Howard, appreciate your time once again. And thanks for talking with Ipswich Today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Ipswich Today is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. This podcast is also listener-supported. Please make a once-only gift or regular donation to help keep it online. Just go to ipswichtoday.com.au and click the donate button at the bottom of the page. You can follow this podcast on your favourite app, including iHeartRadio, or play Ipswich Today from your smart speaker. Music is supplied by Purple Planet Music. This is Alan Roebuck. Thanks for listening.